Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something pretty huge happening in global tech. We're talking about China making this very big, very deliberate shift away from foreign operating systems, specifically this new mandate to, well, essentially rip out Microsoft Windows from a huge parts of their digital world. We've been looking at this really interesting video clip plus some articles that focus right on this development. So our mission really for this deep dive is to unpack not just what's happening, but the why. Why this massive decision? And, what could it mean for everyone else? Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's really striking, and the sources definitely highlight this, is that this isn't just a technical swap, like changing software. If you look at the bigger picture, it's clearly a geopolitical move, a power play. You've got to look way beyond just the OS itself to really grasp the strategy behind it.
Right. And that strategy, that bigger picture you mentioned, it really starts with the sheer size of this thing, doesn't it? Because, like you said, it's not some minor test. Beijing has officially ordered government offices, the military state-owned companies, all of them, to get rid of foreign OS, especially Windows. And the goal, install their own Harmony OS on, over 50 million devices by the end of this year? That's massive.
It's staggering, absolutely. And just to add a bit more on Harmony OS for you, China's really positioning it as their, sovereign system. It's largely built on a microkernel, which is pretty different from your standard monolithic kernels like Windows or even Linux typically use.
Exactly.
And while, it uses parts of open source Android, they've heavily modified it, re-engineered it, really. The key goal being Chinese control, Chinese data sovereignty. So it's not just putting a new skin on Android. It's deeper than that.
Okay, so the scale is huge, and Harmony OS itself has these specific technical underpinnings for control. But it makes you ask, why push so hard right now? Why kick Windows out so aggressively? What are the sources telling us about the main reasons behind this?
The sources are pretty direct. It boils down to national security risks. Primarily, we're in what a lot of people are calling a tech Cold War, right? Where technological dominance, especially in core stuff like operating systems, is, it's a critical battleground for influence, for security. And in that context, controlling the OS is everything. It means controlling potential backdoors, unseen data collection, surveillance, essentially.
Yeah.
It means controlling updates which could, in theory, push bad code or even shut things down remotely. And it absolutely means the power to potentially switch things off. Critical infrastructure. China basically wants to secure its digital walls. They don't want the U.S. or anyone else having that kind of potential access or control deep inside their networks.
That really lays out the why very clearly. It's this fundamental drive for digital independence and security. But, moving 50 million devices off Windows, especially in critical areas, that sounds like a monster of a task, logistically and technically. What do the sources say about the actual challenges China's running into trying to make this Harmony OS switch happen?
That's a really important point. The ambition is one thing. The reality on the ground is another. The sources point to several big hurdles. First, just the technical difficulty, migrating tons of data, tons of applications from a mature ecosystem like Windows, which everything is built around, to something relatively new like Harmony OS. Application compatibility is a huge one. Think about all the specialized software government agencies use or state companies rely on. Getting all that working smoothly on Harmony, that takes a massive coding and porting effort. Then there's the people side, user training. You've got millions of government workers, military folks who have used Windows for years, maybe decades. Retraining them all on a new system, that's a big disruption. It affects productivity. The sources do suggest China is throwing a lot of money at it, incentives for developers, big training programs. They're trying to essentially build a whole new self-sufficient software ecosystem almost overnight. It's way more than just installing an OS.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It's not just the OS, it's everything around it, the whole ecosystem. But like you hinted earlier, this whole story doesn't just stay inside China, does it? Because this is where, for me, it gets really interesting. The source material points to this twist about Huawei's bigger plans. What are the sources saying about where China, or maybe Huawei specifically, wants to take Harmony OS outside China?
Exactly. This is where the scope really widens. Harmony OS isn't just meant for domestic use. Not at all. Huawei, which is obviously a key player in China's tech strategy, is pushing Harmony OS globally, actively. The sources show a particularly strong push in markets across Asia, Africa, the Middle East. Huawei's using its existing relationships, its infrastructure projects, think of Belt and Road Initiative connectivity in these areas. They're offering Harmony OS as, a viable alternative, a non-Western, maybe sovereign-friendly option. And the goal, if you connect the dots, seems to be carving out a significant space in these developed markets, potentially building up a sort of parallel digital world, one that doesn't rely on the U.S.-dominated software infrastructure.
Wow.
So if they manage to pull that off, this global rollout, which, as you say, the sources suggest Huawei is really going for, using existing ties, offering alternatives, then America could seriously see its long-time dominance over that basic software layer challenged. You could end up with these like fragmented digital spheres, maybe new geopolitical blocks forming around technology choices, especially in those emerging economies. It's a huge play. So what does it all mean long term? Are we looking at the start of, I don't know, a new kind of digital iron curtain? So the world kind of splits based on which operating system you use. It definitely makes you think about the really deep, long-lasting effects of this kind of massive tech and geopolitical shift.